Kevin Durant, the cupcake, returned to Oklahoma City, and it was pretty sweet. It's Richie and Isaac here with the Sports Brotherhood. What's going on, man?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you?
Chilling, enjoying the Warriors win. So, jump right on in that. First time, I think the Thunder and Warriors, they've already played twice, but this is the first one back to Oklahoma City. As we all know, that was beaten to death this last week. But was it 130 to 114? KD dropped 34 on probably right around, I think it was like 57% shooting. What did you think? What were your immediate takeaways from the return?
Well, we had our own little comments in terms of what was going to happen, when we were chatting, talking bleep like we do on Brotherhood, like we always do. But, I'm going back and forth with somebody. I'm like, it's going to be an ugly game again. They're going to kill them again because they're going to, survive off emotion, the first quarter and a half. And then, then reality starts to set in. Katie hits a couple shots. Steph gets in on the action, sprinkle in with some clay. It was just a matter of time. And once those boys started running, man, you looked up and the score was, it was already a 20-point lead before we could even blink. But you really felt for Russell out there again. You're just like, you know what? I got a lot of respect for that man, but he doesn't have a chance in this game. He could have had a 50-point triple-double. He still probably would have lost that game. But what were your initial thoughts on it?
It played out pretty much exactly how I expected it would. James had a brother, James, who unfortunately could not join us tonight.
Shout out to James, Joe.
Shout out. So he had a post that said, what was it? The Warriors will win by 20. How about that? And I was like, yeah, that's
right.
Seems to be about right. And one thing about basketball that I like, and maybe a little bit different from most other sports, specifically football, is the better team, the more talented team most likely is going to win the game. And sometimes with football, it's just the way the ball bounces. You can get lucky.
Percentages, man.
Exactly. So it's just with basketball, eight to nine times out of 10, you can look at a team, not on paper, but you can look at a team as far as watching them, look at their body of work, and you can look at who they're playing and say they don't have a chance. And that's exactly what it was. You have one guy in Russell Westbrook. You have arguably, Jeff Van Gundy mentioned this in the game, you have arguably the worst shooters surrounding him, and he's still going out there getting triple-doubles. Andre Roberson, Steven Adams is okay in the post, but he's not going to space the floor on anyone. Victor Oladipo, incredibly inconsistent. So it played out exactly how I thought it would. Like you said, you feel for Russ because he doesn't have enough talent. This is just his year to collect his individual MVP. Hopefully they can do something next year, but, man, it's just that you just can't compete with Golden State. It's just too much.
No, one of my favorite numbers actually from that game where Russ had 8 assists, which accounted for 19 points by Oklahoma City. But he also had 11 turnovers that led to 15 points for the Warriors. So that was just kind of my favorite little stat that it just showed like his assists essentially just canceled out all the work that he was doing with the turnovers and whatnot.
Well, to be fair, he probably should have had about 18 assists if anybody could shoot. If anybody could shoot. Like, he's just it's so crazy how he's going to attack the basket and he still gets there. And then when you come to help, he's going to dish it out to somebody wide open. And it's just, if he had more talent on that team, he just needs one. He just needs one more elite player like he had in KD, obviously, last year. But he just needs one. Give him one elite player. Give him Paul George, something like that, and let him try to do something. Like, it's just, he needs more. He's so good, and you don't want to see it get wasted by him playing with a bunch of scrubs. So
I think it's inevitable. I think he's going to just be one of those guys whose career was just wasted, just disappears into the dust, because he didn't win any titles.
And what's in my opinion, the worst thing about that is Oklahoma City should be in the middle of winning their 6th straight championship. I mean, dude, they had Russ, KD, Serge Ibaka, and James Harden, and because they got cheap and didn't want to pay the luxury tax, they shipped Harden out. Like, dude, franchises go literally 70 years. Like, the beginning teams, there's been teams that haven't had that much talent on one team. Like, it's just, and they screwed it up. Like, they totally screwed it up. So,
Brian Windhorst did an entire story on that very exact thing. How people say, they screwed it up. But actually, I can't even break it down to you right now. But we'll probably save it for another video. But he goes into depth why it's not their fault that they couldn't hold on to their star. They were screwed over by the collective bargaining agreement. Apparently, not only 2 times
It changed
ago.
that year, yeah.
Yeah, so it just messed them up in terms of the rules that they made it exceedingly more difficult for them to hold on to them. It would have been impossible for them to do so. But
No, it would have been.
I'll do a little more homework on it. But I'll do a little more homework on it for you because he basically he says it pretty concretely and he breaks it down pretty logistically why it was impossible for them to keep all of them.
I remember reading it. I don't remember it saying that it was impossible. I just remember them saying that they would have had to pay a hefty luxury tax fee.
I'm not sure if that was the only penalty that they had, though. I believe there's more to that.
That's fair. But so we'll just kind of use that as a transition. Obviously Oklahoma City had the talent and they shipped it out. LeBron is saying, "Hey, we don't have enough talent. Let's ship it in." And he's leading the league in minutes. So what'd you say it was? 37.2?
37.7.
Okay, so pretty much 38 minutes a game. What was that? 12 times 3, 36. So he's playing a little bit over 3 quarters. So he's getting a quarter rest and then some per game. Or no, not even. Sorry, my bad. Not even a full quarter. So about 10 minutes. So yeah, he's what, 33, I believe.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Well, I think he's 32. I think he said something like he's going to be 33 in the winter. And we're in the winter, so I think he said something about him being 32. He said, "I'm going to be 33 in the winter. I ain't got time."
Yeah, because his birthday's late. His birthday's late too. Okay, yeah. So he's 32, leading league in minutes, coming off an Olympic Olympic campaign. Well, I mean, do they have to do that? Like, where's the cutoff between, hey, obviously we want to be competitive to get the 1 seed. But at the same time, hey, we don't really have anybody behind LeBron that we can plug in to, hey, maybe we need to rest him a little bit and sacrifice some wins in the regular season. Where do you see the balance line in there?
Well, I hear you, but did LeBron play? I don't think LeBron played in the Olympics this year, did he?
Oh, totally my bad. Good call. That was straight brain fart.
Sorry, yeah. I mean, I couldn't even focus on your question just because I just started floating off in the distance.
Oh, no. That was well deserved. Yeah, that's huge brain fart. Nope, definitely didn't play.
Old man.
I know, right? But no, so he's still, he's played in 2 Olympics. Granted, that was a while back, so that's not too impactful. But I guess just mainly just last year's late run, obviously in the finals, his continued was at 7 straight finals that he's been to now. So just continued wear and tear. We'll just pretend that I didn't mention the Olympics that he was not involved in. But all the late finals runs, where do you draw the line between give him rest, maybe some present sacrifice for future results, and they just don't have any depth? Where's your balance there?
I mean, they went and got Derek Williams, and he's complete trash. But I mean, he can basically be what I like to call an innings eater. You know how they talk about a pitcher being an innings eater.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not good. They're probably gonna give up a couple runs, bro, but at least it'll get us through the season. With their arms still relatively well rested. You're gonna lose some minutes. You're gonna lose some points. You're gonna get some plays against you just because he's so bad at defense, and he's not consistent enough shooter from outside to really contribute in that facet. But Derek Williams is not exactly what they need, but he's what they need to get them through the doldrums of the regular season. And I don't care if Cleveland drops down to the 5th, 6th, 7th seed, which would be really hard to do in the Eastern Conference. But there's no reason why these guys should be playing more than 32 minutes a night, dude. Like, they know what time it is. They know what they're there for. Just let the innings eaters go out there, the K Felders of the world, and just crap the bed a little bit. But still, get some. You got to do it like San Antonio does in terms of when they just throw guys out there, and that pretty soon they have all these reps, and they've already become so acclimated to the system that you have a legit rotation then that you can utilize later on whenever you want to. So just give the other guys some run is what I'm saying.
I think it's a good point about, you mentioned San Antonio, how they give all the players some playing time and then they're acclimated. It's not, oh my God, I'm thrown in the playoffs. It's like, no, you've been playing 8 minutes a game all year. You're ready. You're, in tune. So yeah, I don't think Derek Williams innings eater. I can get on board with that. I don't think that he's really, I mean, he's athletic, and even then, you'd think that would translate more to the NBA. I mean, he was a beast in college. What was he? Arizona, number 2 overall pick.
He could shoot, man. I think he shot like 50% from like 3-point land that year, his senior year in college, and
Wow,
he just cannot shoot.
crazy, so crazy. Yeah, I yeah, I don't know why he just doesn't seem like the same player. But I don't think that he's really going to do too much in Cleveland. Like I said, I can get on board with the innings eater, but I can't blame him too much for giving him the minutes, just because that's kind of, I mean, sitting 10 minutes. I mean, you said you wanted him to play 32 or 33. You said 33
Yeah,
tonight.
bro. Maybe 30 for LeBron.
All right, yeah, that's fair. He came out of high school.
I mean, listen to the careers that he's actually played more minutes than. He's played more minutes than Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Jerry West, Clyde Drexler, Steve Nash, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing. Like, these are all guys that he's played more minutes than already. Like, there's nothing left for him to prove. He's not going to win another, MVP. That's out of the question now. He doesn't have the energy to do that on a night in, night out basis and whatnot. So, like, there's nothing left for him to win except for to defeat the Warriors and become the greatest player of all time.
That was a good one. Yeah, I agree, but I think that there's just that level of competitiveness that, obviously all the great players, all the great teams and all that have. I don't know that Tyronn Lue has and I don't want to say respect, because it's a bit much, but I don't know that he has, yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess so. I don't know that he has that to say, hey, yo, no, you're not
Does he
playing
have the
30
big stick or not?
I mean, in the finals, shit, credit to him. They beat the Warriors. You have to give him credit there that he had the stick there and swung it. But in the big picture, I don't know that he's going to be like, yo, LeBron, you're only playing 30 minutes or something like that. So you said that to get down to the 4 and 7 seed, I don't know that, like you said, that'd be tough to do. I don't know if that's very realistic. But if they fell anything past the 4, the world would end. Like, SportsCenter would be freaking out how far they'd be falling. You really wouldn't care if they didn't get home court in the first round and they were a 5 seed and they had to go on the road the whole playoffs?
I think everyone had the inkling that, the regular season in the NBA didn't really mean that much. And I think the Warriors kind of just proved that last year. That it's completely pointless. Like you can win the most games of all time and then end up losing the championship and still be, the 3-1 lead meme for all time now. Or
absolutely.
You can drop just like Boston did, even when they were going to the finals with KG and Ray Allen. They were dropping down to the 4th and the 5th seed. Like they didn't have the gas to really. These kind of minutes, you're only putting yourself in more and more trouble. I mean, because they're going to play, 35, 38, 40 minutes during the playoffs. That's going to happen. But these meaningless games that you have nothing to gain from them, I don't get it. They're killing me right now.
See, I can't go that far. I can't say that they're meaningless, because what was it? If you mentioned the percentages earlier about the better basketball team winning the majority of the time, unlike some other sports. And I mean, you look at the percentages when you get a game 7 on any round, I don't care what it is, or you get a game 7 on your home court, your percentages winning is like 7 out of 10. So I can't say that it's for every time that you can count that it didn't count. You can look at one that says, okay, the Spurs lost to the freaking Clippers, and I feel like it's because they didn't have home court and they had to go at Los Angeles that game 7, and just a bunch of wonky stuff. Happened, and you're just like, what? But I don't want to say it's meaningless. I think that it's too long, but I can never agree to shorten it, because it's been this way forever, and you cannot change something that big and just say we're going to take out games and then all the records are just thrown off. So you have to keep it at 82. I think it is too long, but man, I will say this. I just started really getting into the season probably about 3 to 4 weeks ago. And last year when Golden State started 26-0, I watched every game for the whole damn season. So I was loving that with the whole 73-9 thing. But yeah, I totally get that at the end of the day, you can do all that stuff, get the number 1 seed, but you still have to go out there and make the plays, and they didn't do it last year. So,
see, but I mean, I think that if we're not talking about casual fans, I think that fans that are into it and watch a lot of games, or at least a lot of highlights, like I think these fans know that regular season only means so much. I think the average NBA fan is getting more and more educated just due to the level and the depth that our writers go into and the clarity that they give us. So I think they realize the fact that certain wins in a regular season mean something, but I mean after seeing Golden State beat Cleveland 7 times in a row or whatever before losing,
that was insane. And then they lost 4 of their last 5 to close the season. Like, what?
And then they lost 4 in a row if you count winning in the regular season, on Christmas Day. So I mean, so the Warriors, they blew them out last year in February or in January in one of those games, beat them by 30 in their own house.
Blew them out. They blew them out every time they played them last year. Every time.
What did it mean though?
It meant that they were the superior team. It meant that the Warriors were not healthy in the playoffs. It meant that they were coming off a grueling 7-game series against Oklahoma City. It meant that Draymond Green got suspended in Game 5 and Andrew Bogut got hurt in Game 4. So I think that had all those strokes of fate not gone against Golden State, I think they would have won in 5. I think they were clearly the better team. I think they were more talented. I think they had better chemistry. But they just had so many things fall against them and so many things go in Cleveland's favor that that's just how sports is. So,
hey, all it takes is one wet spot in the first round.
Oh my God,
Houston! That's all it takes, baby.
Literally. Like everybody's like, oh no, it was he dropped 45 in that comeback game against Portland. It's like, yeah, absolutely, he did. But your knee doesn't just magically heal with that type of an injury. Like he had. Was it 2.5 to 3 weeks off to obviously recover, rest, and then he goes out there and plays, for another week. Well, it's going to start to flare up again, and that's pretty much what happened. He couldn't split a double team, couldn't do anything. So I'm rambling, getting off topic, talking about my boy, but yeah.
So that same thing happened actually to Kyrie Irving. Remember when they were struggling with the Hawks before they swept them or whatever, and Kyrie wasn't really that effective, against the Hawks with LeBron. And he got all that rest, that he needed for the finals for like 10 days, I want to say. Came out, balled in that first game, and then, shattered his kneecap in Game 2. I would say that the longer that series went on, the more.
I think that was Game 1, wasn't it?
Kyrie, that he shattered his knee.
Was it Game 1?
I don't think it was. I think it was Game. It might have been.
I think it was late Game 1, like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I'm not positive.
It might have happened in overtime, actually.
Okay. Ooh, I think it did. I think it was overtime. I think you're right.
Oh man, but I think that the longer that series happened to go on, though, I think Kyrie Irving his knee would have got more and more, of a deterrent against him being able to do what he was doing.
So speaking of injuries, knee injury to Kyrie Irving, knee injury to Zach LaVine now, knee injury to Jabari Parker now.
Young stars, man.
Both of those guys done for the rest of the year. I thought you had it wasn't a funny jab, but it was comical. You said it's the basketball guys getting Zach LaVine for not doing the dunk contest.
Mm-hmm. You better bow your head and sacrifice a virgin or two, boy. Quit playing around.
Dude, you cannot waste. Give the people what they want, man. We want to see a three-peat.
Defend that crown, baby. But I guess I can't hold it against him. If you win 2, you don't want to be known as that guy. Kind of how Christian Bale doesn't want to be known as Batman. I get it, bro. If you don't want to get stuck in that little box.
Nate Robinson.
He's just a novelty,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some people look at him as a real player, but most people don't.
So who are you more excited about here going forward? Are you thinking Zach LaVine or Jabari Parker as far as maybe not a cornerstone for franchise, but who would you rather have on your team going forward? Including the knee injuries, obviously.
Unless your talent is just transcendental, I always try to go with the bigger talented guy. They all can do a little bit of similar things in terms of driving to the cup. Their handles are okay, but the 3-point percentages both have improved, which is Zach showed a lot of improvement at the end of last year, actually, when he was shooting like 45% for the last 40 games of the year. But and then we got to see Jabari Parker actually take a step forward, and now he was like shooting close to 40% from three this year. So you got to see them take incremental steps, in each prospective games, and then something like that happen, and it makes you harken back to when was an injury, when did it like really ruin your season for me, and that will definitely be the Warriors season for me when Steph Curry's having to slip in that wet spot. So that was one for me because like he had me thinking he was basketball Jesus. And then he wasn't able to walk on the water that was on the court, you know what I mean? And it ended up hurting him.
That was good. That was real good. You fit that together like a puzzle. That was nice.
We tried you, baby.
So yeah, that's a good example. Mine, I'm gonna go more long term. I'm gonna go Vince Carter in 2002 is probably the injury for me that was just like, oh my God, it just killed me. So his rookie year, what was that? 98, 99. Like, okay, he's this really good dunker. He's this great dunker. The next season, his second season, he wins the dunk contest and really starts to become a legitimate elite player. I think his scoring went from it was like 18 something as a rookie. The next year, I want to say it was like 24. And then that third season, he brought it up. He was like top 5 in scoring at like 27.4, I want to say. Anyways, he was up there and really becoming like it was. People forget this, man. It was Kobe and Vince. It wasn't Kobe and Vince. It was Kobe Vince. Like Kobe had Shaq and Vince had Antonio Davis. But
I said Vince should have been better in my eyes.
I agree. It's crazy as this is. Vince had more athletic ability than Kobe. He had everything, but he didn't have the mental part and he didn't have the drive. So
no, he didn't care.
But just getting back on that, so it was that third year's 2000/2001, and they're the fourth seed, so they went 47-35. They had home court in the first round. They beat the Knicks, who they had lost to the year prior to, so they were division rivals. They beat their division rivals in the playoffs. They go up against Philly. It goes Game 7. We all know how that ends. Carter misses a shot on the baseline. And then it was the next year, so 2001/2002. They had picked up, who was it? That's when they had picked up Jerome Williams, the junkyard dog from Detroit. They had got, they had lost Mo Pete. They got some other people. But anyways, he blows his knee out. He had tendonitis. He had all this inflammation in his knee. And it was something with his tendons or whatever. And they did surgery on it. And then he came back the next year. And it was kind of the same thing. They were all right. They were, in that playoff hunt again. And then they had to shut him down again the next year late in the season. So 2 straight years after that, it just wasn't the same with him in Toronto complaining about injuries. Zoe's going to love this when he said, oh, I'm too hurt to dunk and play. And then gets traded to New Jersey and has second life. But it's just that was the one for me that just kind of was the most devastating because I went from being a huge Jordan fan and then Vince came along and it was just this seamless transition of elite dunkers, scorers from North Carolina that just dominated the league. So
I'm really happy that Lorenzo Gordon is not on the podcast today.
Yeah, man, he would be having a heyday going in on this anti-Vince stuff. So
he'd be killing me right now.
Man, dude, that was my boy. That was my boy. But
I don't blame you. He was a dude.
It was. So Steph and VC, yeah, I think those are two. I mean, totally changed. Steph doesn't get the ring. 73 and 9 doesn't. They have a saying, 73 and 9, something with no ring. Don't mean a thing without that ring.
Yeah, dude. And I actually have. This is a segue made for God, just handed to us right now, bro. I actually have the roster of that 2001 Raptors in front of me.
Hold on. Let me see how many I can name. Are you going 2000/2001 or are you going 01/02?
Let's go 2000/2001, 2002, 2001/2002.
Oh, that was the year after. All right, I'm gonna go Alvin Williams.
It's a nice team, bro.
Let me try to get 2000, 2001, and then let me try to get the next one because I know 2000, 2001 because that was my shit. So we got Alvin Williams, Vince Carter, Mo Pete, Charles Oakley, Antonio Davis, Keon Clark, Jerome Williams, Eric Montross, Lawrence Funderburk, Or no. Corliss Williamson. Corliss Williamson and it's yeah.
I'm having some technical
Chris Childs.
difficulties.
Chris Childs. Here's another one. Chris Childs and Alvin Williams. So,
I'm having some technical difficulties.
let me pull this bad boy up. I got most of those.
It's finally popping up for me.
Right.
Thank you, MediaCom. This is what we deal with here in Iowa, right?
All right. So, well,
you got it up?
I got Muggsy, but that doesn't really count because he got traded. So I was counting that playoff roster. So Vince, Chris Childs, Keon Clark,
Alvin Williams,
Del Curry. I forgot Papa Curry. How can I forget Papa Curry?
Yeah, he was one of the first faces that popped up.
God, that's bad. He had so many clutch shots in that Philadelphia series. So many clutch shots. Willis Williamson, Evan Williams. Yeah, he got that was 01-02. Yep. He actually had a game winner that year, and I was like, it looks so weird seeing Akeem Olajuwon in a Raptors jersey. I think he played there one season. All right, so Akeem still had Antonio Davis. They still had Jerome Williams. They did not have Keon Clark. Obviously still had Vince. Obviously still had Mo Pete.
They did. They had Keon Clark.
They had him that year too?
Yeah, dude.
All right.
He played in 81 games.
That was probably his best season then.
Yeah, he had 15 a game.
God, how many blocks? Like 2.5, 2?
2, exactly 2. He was actually born in the exact same city as my father.
Where's that?
I believe Danville, Illinois.
All right. Man, dude, he was. This sounds like hyperbole, but he was so good for that 1 or 2 years, man. Like, God, shot blocker, could step out, hit an 18-footer, can take it past you, finish strong at the rim, decent at free throws, great defender.
He lost the battle to drugs, I believe.
Alcohol, yep. That's exactly what it was. He admitted this after, I think he's in jail now, but he admitted afterwards, he was like, yeah, I would just play most of my games like half drunk. Like, oh my God. Blows my mind.
It just shows you how just these athletes are just on another level. Can you imagine trying to guard or following NBA's players' movements while being half intoxicated?
I can't do it sober, so hell no. I can't.
You can.
That's insane. That's insane. All right, well, we totally got off topic there, but
but yeah, I mean that brings us to your boy Charles Oakley, who just so happened to also be on that roster.
Ooh, that was 2000. Or was he there 02 as well?
Yeah. Well, he was part. I don't know if he was there 02, 03, but he was definitely there 01, 02.
Okay, yeah, that was probably his last year then, and then I think he retired. So yeah, man, they still had Oakley, they still had Antonio Davis. So they went out and tried to get vets. They had Antonio Davis, Charles Oakley, Keem Olajuwon to pair with Vince. It just didn't work out. But yeah, God, Oakley and James Dolan. I'm sure everybody knows this by now.
Disaster, bro.
So bad. So bad. And then even though they won today, the Knicks beat the Spurs. I want to say it was like 96-92. But yeah, you can explain the whole Sprewell thing.
Okay. Well, just the other night, just so happened to be, Sprewell night. After the whole, Oakley, fiasco went down, they decided, the very next day to reach out to a player who hasn't even been to the Garden in 14 years. But that just shows you, kind of difference between the cultures, in terms of with Miami, where they have, Alonzo and, Dwayne Wade and Udonis Haslem are definitely going to come back there and have jobs in the future. And they're a tight-knit organization, with structure, and everybody kind of knows, they have a home there in Miami. But then you go back over to New York, right up the coast, and you're just like how is an organization, while they were at the peak of their powers in terms of in the 90s, and they had Sprewell, how do they not have that guy at least in the building in the last 14 years? That's absurd. But for them to do that to Charles Oakley, and strangely, a lot of people are coming to Oak's defense and saying, hey, no, Oak's not like that. Oak's this, Oak's that. But, you look at it, and he basically fired his head of security for doing his job in terms of Dolan. So when you fire somebody for doing their job in terms of kicking, him out, it basically said that, it was all fake in terms of he fired his guy for no reason, basically. Just because he could, to try to make, cover up, the fact that, the whole Oakley thing was a little rough around the edges, and he's coming off looking off really really badly and poorly right now. But basically, with his he fires his head of security for the whole Oakley fiasco, and now it just raises more red flags, and people look at that, and then you're just trying to sweep it underneath the rug because while you want to give goodwill to Sprewell, it's really hard to do that when you had an incident like that just occur 5 seconds ago. But it's so New York Knicks, and it's so Dolan to try to sweep something like this underneath the rug instead of trying to improve that relationship with Oakley and get him the help that he needs. You're gonna do that to him. It's like a kick on the way out. But what do you think about it?
I think James Dolan reminds me a lot of Donald Trump. So you mentioned the fact that he fired the dude for doing his job so he didn't look bad. That's totally something Trump would do. I think Dolan thinks that the public and Knicks fans are absolute idiots and we cannot read between the lines and we don't know what's going on when it's crystal freaking clear exactly what's going on. Same thing with Trump, just making stuff up and not thinking anybody's going to catch. Like, it's just these rich people are so out of touch with reality that they think that they can do whatever they want and it's going to work. And I love it when it doesn't, because James Dolan has literally torn that team apart. Nobody wants to play there. Nobody wants to coach there. It is an absolute joke. And everything that has come out of New York, I don't care if Melo's going there, that didn't work. I don't care if you try to get all these draft picks, that didn't work. I don't care if you try to buy all the top players in free agency with Isaiah Thomas, that didn't work. Like, everything that this organization does right after the, 2000 season? I want to say the last time they beat Toronto was the last time they're really relevant. Like, I'm not positive on that, but they didn't do anything in the early 2000s.
They did win like 50 games like 4 years ago or something like that.
Okay, so they had one good year in the last 13 or whatever. But yeah, I do remember that. That was when Jason Kidd was there. I won a $50 bet on that.
It's weird how wherever that guy goes, a team just starts winning no matter what stage of the career he's in.
But yeah, I think Dolan's a joke. The Knicks are a joke. I think they deserve everything that they have coming. And there's a part of me that wants to see them do well, because just like today, I was watching the Knicks-Spurs game. And like, Sunday basketball just feels right when you're watching the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. Like, the universe is just aligning with that. But I like the Knicks just because of I'm a sports traditionalist. So I like the Knicks because it just has that feel to it of like growing up, NBA and NBC, quadruple header, and you're watching, Knicks and Bulls, Pacers, Knicks, stuff like that. But they do so many things so poorly from an organizational standpoint that I don't feel like they deserve any ounce of success. So
it's unbelievable, because I mean, when you think of New York, it's like one of those it's one of those cornerstones of the world, really, in terms of it's at the peak of hip hop and music and business and art and poetry and acting. You can get all of that in New York, modeling, clothing, fashion. It's the peak, and then you look at the New York Knicks, you're like, man, it just doesn't measure up to the city that it's in. And it's so sad, because with even a half decent owner, that place would be rocking all the time. They'd probably already be headed the right direction, because who the hell doesn't want to play in New York if it wasn't the pile of bleep that is right now?
Yeah, it's when you have that many things going in your favor, all those things you just mentioned, and you still have managed a way to screw it up, I think that really needs to be that can't be dismissed. Like, that has to be like, dude, you're so bad. You had all these advantages and you still suck. Like, that's a special kind of stupid, and that's
not to mention Melo loves the city too. Melo loves New York. You know what I mean? So I mean, stars love New York. They know when they come to Madison Square Garden, they're probably gonna lose because they were out partying the night before. That's New York, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. Good old Dolan, but yeah, I don't see them making the playoffs anytime soon. That is for sure. But I do want to.
But it just shows you, though. Oh, go ahead, bro.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, though, it just shows you just the level of talent in the NBA is still good enough to beat any other NBA team in the league, just any given night. So, you see San Antonio, just one of the class of the league. They actually have the only franchise in the history of the NBA to have a winning record against every single other team. um, yeah, and then you couple that going against the Knicks and they happen to lose. You're just like, man, this is why I don't bet on regular season NBA games. No, it's not happening, bro.
That is crazy. They have a winning record against every team. I mean, really, when you think about it, they formed in, I want to say, like the mid to late 70s, the ABA. Yeah, George Gervin. They've always had good players. Maybe they had a little dip in the 70s, but then in the 90s, you have David Robinson, Sean Elliott, Avery Johnson. They were winning 60 games then. 2000s, you have Tim Duncan. And now, like, yeah, man, that probably – I mean, they don't have the titles that Boston did because Boston won all of theirs and there was 8 teams. They're arguably the best franchise in the history of the NBA. Oh, forgot about the Lakers. But they were around early too. Like the Lakers and Celtics, they won the majority of their championships in the 50s and 60s when there was 8 teams. So it's like since the merger, they won what, 4? And then they just won 5, so that's 9.
Magic won 5.
5. All right, so they had 5 in the 80s and then 5 in the 2000s. Yeah, all right, that's legit. So they're definitely number 1. Spurs number 2 then. They definitely got to be over. Nope, you got to go Bulls. They're third though. They're definitely third.
No, I think they're 2. I mean, I think
we're going longevity. Definitely the Spurs. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that you're saying that I have a winning record against every team in the league. What more do you want from a team?
Yeah.
Historically, present day, however you want to look at it, they're a damn good run organization, man. And they're one of those teams that they're not going to lose. You have to beat them. You have to do 1 or 2 plays like more than what they're going to do because they're going to push you to your absolute limit. And nobody knows that more than LeBron.
Popovich is exactly like Belichick, where he's going to scheme and get he's clearly the best coach. Like nothing gets by him. He knows exactly what to do. He's always 1 step ahead. And yeah, straight up, ask LeBron. That was perfect.
The only thing that would make the Warriors better is if they were coached by Popovich.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't even fathom that. I don't even
think, because I think that they're doing a damn good imitation of what Papa would have them doing. But I mean, come on, bro. I mean, Papa's winning 60 games with just guys, just throwing guys out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be nasty.
Elite defense year after year after year too, man. It's unbelievable.
So another quick comparison to Belichick. So Belichick has changed his style so many times. He's went from a ball control running offense. He's been spread and thread. He's been pound it. He's been defensive first. He's done all these things. Popovich does the same thing. He used to be the slowest pace in the team when he was winning those first rings. Then he speeds it up and goes, like super up-tempo, maybe like 07, 08, 09, 010. Then he kind of slows it back down a little bit. Then he slows it down but has just lightning quick passing. So it's just like that's when you have a complete head coach that just totally gets the game, is when you can just morph into all these different things and say, hey, what's this other team's weakness? That's what we're going to exploit. And no matter what style of game that we want to play, we're still going to be one of the best ones at doing it. So,
and that's the argument to why he's the greatest coach of all time, just because of the simple fact that not only has he, played in, 2 very different eras, but, he's been able to, be a chameleon and mimic every single style that you've seen in the game. So, I mean, when you think about that, you think about the greatest coaches that could evolve. You wouldn't think about putting Phil Jackson in that group because he's going to go to his grave screaming triangle. And I mean you think about Pat Riley. He doesn't really, his is more of a rough, aggressive, grinded out kind of a game. He's never really that had that free flowing pace and space that Eric Spoelstra has given to Miami right now, which is strange that he's got to be in that coach of the year discussion given they just won 13 games in a row. Eric Spoelstra is an elite coach. I don't care what anyone says, by the way.
He's earned it.
Bro, you win 13 games in a row with Deion Waiters as your best player. You're a damn good coach, okay?
He's definitely earned it. That is for sure.
Bro. But yeah. But back to Popovich, though. He's the best coach of all time because he can do it to you in any way that you want to do it.
Yep, I definitely give him the nod over I discredit. I shouldn't do it, but I do. I discredit historical teams for that reason that I mentioned earlier. There was only 8 of them. I mean, when you're, you know, Red Auerbach and you win all those championships, stuff like that. Like I can't discount that too much because you're still the best team. I don't care how many teams there are. You're still the best. But it also gives you a much higher probability. Because, I mean, realistically, if there was 8 teams, 4 of those didn't have a chance. So you really have 4 teams that you're playing with. You have 4 teams essentially now in the Warriors, Spurs, and all that stuff. But just not as much turnover. I don't count them as much.
So, they took advantage of the game in its infancy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that, but bro, when you have to beat like 3 teams to win it all or 2 teams to win it all, bro, like, you don't have a 82 game grinded out regular season.
No,
like,
they had that, but like you said, they just played. There wasn't any teams playing the playoffs. So you're playing the same team like every. They literally played 82 games in like the late 60s. I want to say, or no, maybe even been since the early 60s. But yeah, they had like 8 teams.
I guess we have a homework assignment now, don't we? In terms of when did the 82 game schedule begin?
All right, gotten that one down. 82 game. But yeah. On that note, let's wrap it up.
Yes, sir.
We went a little bit over.
Yeah.
45, 55, 5. Oh shit, we're at 42 minutes. Oh well. What are you gonna do? One of these times, man, I'm telling you, we're gonna be able to.
I looked at that as we were talking. I was like, oh man, we got another topic to go into, even because it was 10 o'clock. I was like, oh, we're about to hop into another topic too. We're screwed.
Oh well, what are you gonna do? But yeah, anybody that stuck around this long or just fast forwarded to the end of it, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. That way we know that there's people that are enjoying it. So, but yeah, any last thoughts?
Any last thoughts? No, sir. Other than to be happy, be healthy, and keep making love, baby.
All right, I'm down with that one. All right, well, until next time, later, guys.